into Southeast Delhi as well. But yes, there were accounts that some of them were students. But yes, the kind of evidences that the police has provided definitely tells a lot that they were actually not involved in studying in those universities, and that is the reason why they were arrested by the police. Some of them were taken into preventive arrest as well by the special cell and by the Delhi police. Eventually, they were handed over to the NIA for further investigation. Currently, this morning, after the ban has been imposed on the PFI, just a few minutes ago, a team of police officials from the local police station of Shaheen Bagh have arrived out here at the PFI office. Now, remember, this office was actually sealed by the NIA on the 22nd of September when the initial raids happened, in which approximately 147 people were arrested from across the country. All these were senior leaders of the PFI, and yesterday the on-ground workers of the PFI were arrested. Now a team of police officials have arrived over here just to make sure that no untoward situation arises over here, because PFI, this is the only office of PFI in the national capital, and this could be said as one of the headquarters of the PFI, and they actually have a kind of a support on ground, especially in this area like Shaheen Bagh, where people actually say that people from the PFI have actually helped them on many occasions, be it for education or whatever. So yes, they have kind of a support over here, and just to make sure that no untoward situation arises, because yes, there will be public sentiment, there will be people who will be raising their voice against this ban on PFI, and that is the reason why the administration is taking absolutely every preventive step that could be taken just to make sure that no law and order situation arises, and if at all it arises, it could be contained at the earliest. And that is the reason why local police officials have already arrived over here. They are making sure that no one is allowed to gather in this area to carry out any sort of protest, because remember, this entire area has Section 144 has been imposed in this entire area approximately 10 days ago, and for the next 2 months that is going to continue as well. So yes, the police and the administration is already taking all the preventive steps that it can take just to make sure that a situation like Kerala that we saw happening on the 23rd of September or on the evening of 22nd September, where massive protests happen over there, there was public unrest, that should not happen on the streets of national capital, and that is the prime focus of the agencies as of now, and that is the reason why we are seeing all preventive measures being taken in the.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Trouble is only mounting for the Aam Aadmi Party with each passing day. Today, Vijay Nair, a close associate of Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, who was arrested by the CBI in connection with the liquor policy scam, has now been sent to a 5-day CBI custody. Remember, Vijay Nair is one of the 15 named in the CBI's FAR. He is said to have been actively involved in the framing and implementation of the excise policy in question. Liquor merchant Sameer Mahendru has also been arrested. Mahendru, remember, is the managing director of Indo Spirits.
मेरे को एक्चुअली ये समझ नहीं आ रहा कि उनको किस लिए गिरफ्तार किया गया है। वो एक छोटा सा कार्यकर्ता है हमारा, सोशल मीडिया संभालता है, कम्युनिकेशन संभालता है। पहले उसने पंजाब का कम्युनिकेशन संभाला, पंजाब हम लोग जीत गए। फिर आजकल वो गुजरात का कम्युनिकेशन देख रहा था, गुजरात का सोशल मीडिया देख रहा था। सो उसको गिरफ्तार कर लिया कि वो दिल्ली के कोई शराब घोटाले में शामिल है। उसका दूर दूर तक उससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है। सो उसे क्यों गिरफ्तार किया गया? वो पिछले 4-5 दिन से उसको बुला भी रहे थे और कह रहे थे ज़बरदस्ती मनीष सिसोदिया जी का नाम लो, मनीष सिसोदिया जी का नाम लो। अब मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर इन्होंने रेड कर ली, उसमें कुछ नहीं मिला।
CNN News 18 has now accessed the order copy, which has gone on to say that Vijay Nair was non-cooperative. Vijay Nair's custody necessary for unearthing larger conspiracy. Vijay Nair's role necessary to unearth the role of each accused, including other public servants as well. My colleague Ananya Bhatnagar has accessed this order copy exclusively for us. Talk to us about the evidence that the agencies are working with, Ananya, that they feel that they have against Vijay Nair.
Well, remember when Vijay Nair was actually produced before the court, it was said that almost 5 cell phones have been recovered from him, and almost all of them have a lot of crucial data that has been recovered. And importantly, out of which the 2 phones which have been seized by the Central Bureau of Investigation, he had actually formatted those phones, though the counter argument that was given out by his legal team, which was headed by senior advocate Rebecca John, clearly said that these phones were given to some of Vijay's friends, and that's the reason why these phones were formatted. But then the CBI alleges that he has actually deleted crucial data from that phone, and importantly, he was using the Signal app, which is a highly encrypted app, to communicate about the same, and various chats have also been given out by the Central Bureau of Investigation. However, the same were actually kept before the judge and not read in open public, so we cannot divulge as to what was actually written in those messages. But then definitely the CBI says that it had conducted a lot of raids, and only after incriminating evidence was available to it, the said arrest has been made. And remember, Vijay Nair is not only one of the accused into this particular case. He's a former promoter of a very reputed media company called OML, which used to design social media campaigns. And currently also he is one of the communications head for the Aam Aadmi Party. He had in fact designed the whole social media campaigning for the Punjab elections, and now was working on the Gujarat elections as well. And his role has now come out into this particular case. The CBI has arrested him and had in fact sought a 7 days of police custody remand into this particular case. However, a 5 days was given out by the court of law. And remember that the court in its observation has clearly stated that in view of the totality of the facts and circumstances, the application filed by the CBI is allowed, and the accused is remanded to custody of the Central Bureau of Investigation for 5 days. In fact, it is also said the accused arrested in this case yesterday only, and though it is stated that he has joined investigation of 6 different days, but it is alleged that he is not cooperative and is avoided to give reasonable replies to the question put to him, and he had been giving evasive reply, is what the CBI had said to the court. And keeping in point that the investigation is at a very initial stage, at an nascent stage, the court has now sent him to 5 days of police custody remand.
Okay, Ananya, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. So 2 key arrests that have been made, trouble mounting for the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party saying this is a witch hunt, vendetta, politics. There's no real evidence to play around with. We'll really have to see how this plays out. Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. Viewpoint with Zaka Jacob is up next.
Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. The centre has finally banned the Popular Front of India, the PFI, a radical Islamist organisation whose members are wanted for cases from murder to radicalisation to spreading terror. Now, this ban comes after dozens of places across the length and breadth of India were raided over the last week, 10 days. More than 500 PFI leaders and workers were arrested. And in many of these instances, incriminating material has also been recovered from them. The PFI, on the other hand, claims that this is nothing but a pure witch hunt. The question is, why should there be any tolerance, even 0.1% tolerance, for radicalized views and actions that encourage terrorist activities? But first, the story so far.
After 2 rounds of intensive raids and more than 300 arrests, it finally happened. The centre banned the Popular Front of India and its associates for 5 years under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Listing the reasons behind the ban, the Home Ministry's notification stated that PFI is involved in several criminal and terror cases and shows sheer disrespect towards the constitutional authority. With funds and ideological support from outside, it has become a major threat to the internal security of the country. And investigations in various cases have revealed that the PFI and its cadre have repeatedly engaged in violent and subversive acts.
निश्चित रूप से लंबे समय से जांच चल रही थी, कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा मिला है जो उनकी गतिविधियों को संदिग्ध बनाता है.
With PFI being declared an unlawful organisation, their properties could be attached and activities of their members could be deemed illegal.
Where right now in the Benson town, where happens to be the PFI state head office here, are leaders across the state and from also outside the state. So they used to come and visit this organization.
A team of police officials have managed to reach over here. They are inspecting this entire site, just making sure that no untoward incident happens over here. And that is the reason why a team of police officials have just arrived.
The ban was welcomed by most state governments.
This is a very, very welcoming move. PFI and CFI create a fertile ground. Al-Qaeda Indian subcontinent can recruit it.
जो minorities है उसमें घुसकर वहाँ पर अनरेस्ट निर्माण करना, वहाँ पर इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन करना, फंडिंग की भी अपनी व्यवस्था की है, छोटे छोटे अकाउंट निकालकर उसके माध्यम से किसी के ध्यान में ना आए इस प्रकार से ये टेरर फंडिंग कर रहे थे.
But politics wasn't far behind, with many opposition leaders questioning the move.
Every Muslim youth will now be arrested with a PFI pamphlet under India's black law UAPA. How come PFI is banned but organizations associated with convicts of Khaja Ajmeri bomb blast are not? Why has government not banned right-wing majoritarian organizations?
Bans really have not worked in the past. The same people can work with a different name in a different organization. Earlier RSS were banned thrice. Has it stopped them?
For several years now, PFI has been one of the biggest threats to India. Their members chopped the hand of a college professor in Kerala. They've been behind cold-blooded murders of right-wing members and obtained explosives to target prominent people and places. So why object to a crackdown on such a radical organization?
All right, so what exactly does it entail? What are the implications of the ban of the PFI for 5 years? It's now been declared as an unlawful organization. What it means is you cannot be a member of this organization anymore. If you are becoming a member, then automatically you will be treated as a criminal. Also, forfeiture of property. The PFI as an organization cannot own any property because once the organization is banned, then it has to forfeit the properties in its name. It cannot organize. Articles of association will not happen or will not apply for an unlawful organization. Like the PFI, they will not be allowed to bring groups of people together and organize protests. Also, they cannot be taking donations. Remember, many organizations ask for donations, organize seminars, workshops, etc. None of those the PFI will be able to do. They can also not publish under the PFI name any more of their propaganda material. And also, most importantly, and I think this is where the nub of the fight is, their bank accounts. They will not have access to any financial resources. Bank accounts in the name of the organization will be frozen. Also, their properties, offices will be attached. There will also be travel curbs on their office bearers. They will not be allowed to travel far and wide if associated with the PFI. Let me now go across to Arunima, my colleague, who's been tracking this story. Now, one of the things that you've heard from political parties as well as other experts and analysts is that a ban doesn't materially amount to anything on the ground because today you've banned PFI, they can metamorphosize into something else, just like you did Simi a few years ago. Simi went on to become PFI. So how does the Home Ministry explain how they intend to counter that?
Well, this is not a version that they are supporting at all. In fact, senior police officials in states also who are dealing with PFI in their role of anti-terrorism unit, they also are saying this ban coupled with the All India action, the All India crackdown that has happened in the last 2 weeks, that has given them a huge leg up as far as their fight against a Popular Front of India-led radicalization and quote-unquote terror is concerned. Why are they saying that? First point they're saying is that it is not easy to regroup because now that PFI is a banned organization, anybody who was associated is on the radar of intelligence agencies, state police agencies. So if you become a sleeper cell and if you become from dormant, you become active, you will be immediately on the scanner of the agency. So that's point number one. Second, they're saying, where will you get a committed leadership from? All the top leadership is now in custody. Now that PFI is a banned organization, there is greater chance of them not being, even if they are set free, there is a very less chance of them able to put together an organization like PFI. So getting a committed leadership is the second most important difficulty. Third, as far as funding is concerned, we have learned that the National Investigation Agency has already frozen the main PFI account in which donations came, and now every other donation will be monitored as well. So there were some experts who were saying that what about the dark web, what about crypto? There are other ways to get donation. So the police men and women I spoke to are confident that now that PFI has been banned and the top leadership is in custody, together these two moves will ensure that they have a greater grip, a tighter grip on that funding route as well. They're hoping interrogation of the chairman, the national executive members will give them more insight as to how this funding was being done, and that will help them prevent it.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much, Arunima, for joining us with your perspective and details of what is the rationale, what is the thinking behind this ban. Let me now go across to our guests who are joining us. Vikram Singh, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, Swapnil Kothari, senior lawyer, Abhijit Majumdar is consulting editor with First Post, and Maulana Ali Qadri, Islamic scholar, also joining us. Maulana Qadri, मैं आपसे शुरू करूंगा. पिछले हफ्ते 10 दिन में करीबन 300 जगहों पे रेड हुए हैं. 300 से ज़्यादा पीएफआई के या तो नेता लोग नहीं तो उनके कार्यकर्ता लोग अरेस्ट हुए हैं. उनमें से काफ़ी सारों को कोर्ट्स ने पुलिस कस्टडी, शायद एनआईए कस्टडी हो या बाकी पुलिस एजेंसीज जो हैं उनके कस्टडी में भेजे हैं. इनके यहाँ से काफ़ी सारे इंक्रिमिनेटिंग मटेरियल्स भी रिकवर हुआ है. तो ऐसे एक संगठन को हम प्रोत्साहन क्यों देना चाहिए सर? इसको बैन करने का रैशनल यही है कि ये पूरा रेडिकलाइज्ड आउटफिट है और यंग मुसलमानों को और रेडिकलाइज्ड और दहशतगर्द के रास्ते में लेके जाने के लिए ये एक टूल बन रहा था. तो पीएफआई जैसे संस्थानों को हम क्यों इतना लॉन्ग रोप दें?
देखिए जावेद साहब, हमारी पहली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थी मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी से, जो सूफी सजादा नशीन काउंसिल है. सबसे पहले हमने हमारे ऑनरेबल होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी से और अजीत डोवाल साहब से इस बात की रिक्वेस्ट की थी कि इनके जो गतिविधियां हैं पीएफआई की, इनको देखते हुए आप इनके ऊपर बैन लगाएं. और हमने आज बैन लगने पर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का वेलकम किया और होम मिनिस्टर साहब को हमने इसका शुक्रिया भी अदा किया. लेकिन साथ ही साथ साहब एक बात हम ये कहना चाहते हैं कि पीएफआई का जो मैटर था अब यहां पर क्लोज हो चुका है. लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं ऐसे जरूर महसूस हो रहा है कि ये पीएफआई के बहाने किसी और को, मासूम इनोसेंट लोगों को ना सताया जाए. क्योंकि माजी में बहुत सारी बार ऐसा देखा गया है कि करता कोई है भरता कोई है. पीएफआई की गतिविधियां हमको गलत दिखी. हमने हुकूमत के साथ शाना बाशाना कदम ब कदम साथ रहे और बिल्कुल ही मुखालिफत की, जिसके बिना पर काफी मुसलमानों की हमको नाराजगी भी सहनी पड़ी. हमें उसकी परवाह नहीं थी.
कादरी साहब, एक छोटा सा डाउट है, आप क्लैरिफाई कर दीजिए. इन जो 300 लोग जो अरेस्ट हुए हैं पिछले हफ्ते 10 दिन में, उनमें से ऐसा कोई भी है जो पीएफआई के साथ एसोसिएटेड नहीं था?
ना साहब, मैं एनआईए की कार्रवाई के ऊपर तो मैं कभी जो है ऐसा गलत बात कर भी नहीं सकता. एनआईए की ये जो कार्रवाई हुई है वो पूरे साक्ष्य जुटाते हुए, सबूत जुटाते हुए उन्होंने काम किया है. मैं फ्यूचर के लिए बात कर रहा हूं सर. फ्यूचर में ऐसा कोई काम ना हो जिससे कि मुस्लिम, इनोसेंट मुस्लिम परेशान.
ठीक है, तो आप कह रहे हैं कि जनरल माहौल ऐसा ना हो कि इनोसेंट मुस्लिम्स को ये लगे कि वो परसिक्यूट हो रहे हैं. लेट मी आस्क अभिजीत Majumdar, you heard what Owaisi had to say. He says while he welcomes the ban on the PFI, he says arresting 300 people under what he called the black law UAPA is uncalled for. He says it's against the basic structure of the constitution. The point is this acceptable that you have a radicalized organization which is not only involved in tens of hundreds of cases across multiple states in this country, but is indulging in this even now? It is brainwashing young Muslim men and women to take up violent means for whatever perceived grievances they may be.
If you've noticed, most Muslim organizations, especially the proper legitimate overground ones, even ones that are borderline divisive, one might say, etc. Even Mr. Owaisi has not come in support of PFI. That is a very significant thing. A large part of the Muslim community, I don't think, has accepted PFI as their mouthpiece or as their thought leader. So that is a very welcome and good sign. As Mr. Qadri just said before me, that they by and large welcome the whole decision, because organizations like PFI make it more difficult for the community, help everybody, paint the community with one wide brush, and which nobody would want. So this whole concerted action is very welcome. And about radicalization, see, PFI was trying to create something like a Muslim Brotherhood, which is very, very dangerous. I mean, if you are an out and out terror organization, it is probably easier for the authorities to handle it, because it's then in black and white. What PFI was trying to create was shades of gray, where it was creating a certain social legitimacy in the community, with all the 8 frontal organizations that have been banned along with the PFI, tell you that how they were using the campuses, women's groups, this, that, empowerment, creating fronts where money was being, sent in.
Okay.
So this whole network, this quasi social network, this crackdown is, was very, very necessary, because it's quite dangerous when such groups with such ulterior agenda.
Vikram Singh, so 8 organizations, 8 affiliated organizations along with PFI have been banned, includes the All India Imams Council, the Rehab India Foundation, the Campus Front of India, their women's wing, all of that has been banned along with the PFI. But their political wing, the SDPI, which has contested elections in the past as well, Vikram Singh, that has not been banned. Is that because that does not fall under the remit of the central government? Or will this enable, if the political wing is not being banned, will it enable the political wing to undertake nefarious activities under the garb of it being political activity? So you have to unmute, please. Yeah, Vikram Singh.
Zaka, good evening. I would say that PFI has an insidious move, picked up all aspects of human activity, whether it is students, whether it is academics, whether it's women welfare, whether it's charity, whether it is development, and you name it, and the PFI has their finger in their pie. Now, if the PFI has been banned, and I would also draw your attention to the fact that recently we discussed the Criminal Identification Act 2022 also, wherein all the biometrics will be taken of every person arrested now. There can be no comparison between the banning of SEMI and the banning of the Indian Mujahideen and banning of the PFI, because then the data collected was very half-baked. Now for sure, the history sheet would incorporate the biometrics, the Aadhaar, the PAN card, the mobile number and everything. Therefore, to metamorphose or to have a new avatar in certain organizations will be very much difficult. But banning of the SDPI is a natural corollary that once you starve the roots, the shoots will die down automatically. Now, the SDPI is a political wing, but it depends upon their cadres for the funding, for the manpower, for booth capturing and other intimidation of the electorate so as to be successful during the course of elections. But when the cadre dies down, and I dare say that this unprecedented action that has been taken 22nd of September and 27th of September, leading to the arrests of hundreds of people in both the goes, collection of incriminating evidence, I don't think that they would have the resilience even to come back again. And YD sections 2, 3, 4 of the UAPA, the banning has happened. Section 40 of the UAPA would ensure that the funds are forfeited, and all their funds under the PMLA Act, they will not only be forfeited, they will be attached, movable and improperly attached. That will be one blow which they will not be able to do. But
okay, I want to ask Swapnil Kothari again. I'm borrowing from what Mr. Owaisi said, because he made this an issue in his press conference earlier, where he said the UAPA provisions like Section 2 and 3 will ensure that many of these people will have to stay in jail without getting bail for sometimes up to 2 years. And he cited the Siddiq Kapan example. Let me ask Swapnil Kothari, even in a terror case, even in a case where there is heinous charges against individuals, and in this case there are more than 300 of them who have been charged with these heinous charges, as per the due process of law, should someone be incarcerated without trial, without access to bail for a period up to 2 years, as we have seen in recent cases?
Zaka, that's very good question. But then UAPA is a draconian law, and COFE, COSA, UAPA, NDPS, these are all draconian legislations, and people can be incarcerated without access to bail for a certain period of time if the legislature so provides in the statute, or in this case in the UAPA, if you are a member of the organization even after it's been banned. So 2, 3, 4, in as much as draconian as they may sound, but that's still a challenge is possible to that, because the tribunal has to then decide by the report of the government, of the Ministry of Home Affairs, as to whether this ban is appropriate or not. So it's not that PFI is without any legal remedy. Now, how much that legal remedy is going to fructify is a different issue. I don't think it will, because the way the raids have been conducted, the way the evidence has been led, it clearly indicates that this has got no tomorrow as such. I believe this organization has no tomorrow. But be that as it may, Zaka, I am going to stretch this argument a little further. This is a great move. It's a long overdue move by the central government to ban PFI. What about the other offshoots of this organization? What about the other branches of this organization? What about the other cohorts, or should I say affiliations or associations of this organization, which may be functioning alongside? You cannot just work out a terror network by yourself. You have to have some certain, great hands along with you.
No, but there are 8 other organizations, affiliated organizations, that have also been banned.
True. Yes, that is true. Those 8 alone may not be sufficient, because then you have to look at those 8 of the other 8. In the sense, you have to keep multiplying that, because those other 8 also could be having their own affiliations with others also. So it could be just that kind of a spiral network where you go into a Byzantine maze of looking after one to connecting to the other. So it's a kind of a domino effect where you keep going until you arrive at the root of it and try to extricate this from the roots. Otherwise, this ban by itself is not sufficient. You can ban 8, you can ban 10 organizations, but it is not going to be sufficient at all. You will continue to have this problem time and again, and this will really resurface even after a period of time. So this is something which I believe needs to, really need to be taken care of, not only by the government, but also by the administrative machinery. The police and the NIA also have to work in tandem as far as this aspect is concerned.
Let me also ask Maulana Qadri Saab about, आज 2-3 पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स आगे आके उन्होंने ये बोला कि ठीक है, PFI पे बैन आपने लगा दी, ठीक है, अच्छी बात है, लेकिन आप राइट विंग के एक्सट्रीम ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को क्यों नहीं बैन कर रहे हैं? और उन्होंने साइट किया RSS के एग्जांपल. क्या ये कंपैरिजन वैलिड है या कुछ फॉल्स इक्विवेलेंस है, मौलाना अली कादरी? क्योंकि अभी तक तो RSS के लोग ऐसे डायरेक्टली इम्प्लिकेट नहीं हुए हैं इन हीनस क्राइम्स लाइक टेररिज्म केसेस.
देखिए जाकिर साहब, डायरेक्टली इन्वॉल्व नहीं है, यह बात बिल्कुल सही है. RSS से जो भी अपने पद पर हो या RSS की कोई पोस्ट पर हो, लेकिन RSS की विचारधारा रखने वाले लोग, जैसे कि मक्का मस्जिद बम ब्लास्ट में इन्वॉल्व रहे, मालेगांव के बम ब्लास्ट में इन्वॉल्व रहे, अजमेर की दरगाह के बम ब्लास्ट में इन्वॉल्व रहे, यही नहीं, यही RSS थी ना सर कि हिंदुस्तान में मुसलमानों को कैंसर कहा था. लेकिन हम वो पास्ट में नहीं जाना चाह रहे, इसीलिए क्योंकि आपने देखा कि 4 डेज बैक मोहन भागवत जी ने मदरसे को जो है गए और वहां के लड़कों से मिला. तो हम तो हर वक्त सौहार्द और संवाद के लिए तैयार है. और आपके डिबेट में और कभी एक बात हो रही थी कि मुस्लिम ब्रदरहुड पर, तो मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा सर कि मुस्लिम ब्रदरहुड हमारे देश के लिए कोई घातक नहीं है. वैसे ही जिस तरीके से RSS सारे हिंदूज को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर जमा करते हुए अपनी कम्युनिटी को डेवलप करना चाह रही है, और वैसे ही कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के सर्कल में रहते हुए, संविधान के दायरे में रहते हुए, अगर कोई आदमी मुस्लिम ब्रदरहुड की बात करता है, साथ ही साथ अपने देश की भी बात करता है, तो इसमें क्या बुराई है? अगर वो अपनी कम्युनिटी को डेवलप करना चाहता है तो इसमें कोई बुराई बात नहीं है. लेकिन PFI का जो मैटर था, वो लोग मुस्लिम ब्रदरहुड के नाम पर एंटी नेशन एक्टिविटीज कर रहे थे, इसीलिए हमने PFI को खिलाफ बोला, उनको बैन लगाने की बात की, जो आज बैन हो गया. और एक बात जो ओवैसी साहब ने कही कि UAPA वाली बात, तो सर ऐसा कई पास्ट में देखा गया कि इनोसेंट मुस्लिम्स के ऊपर बड़े बड़े सेक्शंस के तहत बुक कर दिए गए केसेस, 2 साल के बाद उनको कोर्ट ने रिलीज किया. तो ऐसी कोई घटना PFI के नाम पर मुस्लिम यूथ के साथ ना हो, ये सारे लोगों को फिक्र है, इंक्लूडिंग मी ऑल्सो.
नहीं, मिसयूज ऑफ लॉ वो है, मैं मना नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मिसयूज ऑफ लॉ वो वाला कंसर्न आपका है, but I want to ask Abhijit Majumdar again, this equivalence that is being seemingly drawn. You had Sitaram Yechuri also talk about, in the context of why bans won't work. He said RSS was banned 3 times. Did it stop them? The point that's being made is there is some kind of an equivalence, you can call it a false equivalence, being sought to be established between, radical views on the Muslim side vis-a-vis radical views on the Hindu side. And what Maulana Qadri said, how about the people who were arrested in the Makkah Masjid blast, the Malegaon blast? They had association with right-wing organizations, but none of those cases, it's been pending 10, 12, 15 years, have been brought to any kind of fruition. How do you respond to that?
Very simple. I mean, these false equivalences actually, have no meaning simply because, tell me even, one instance where Hindu terror has been, proven. In fact, quite the opposite. We have seen, past home ministers making false notings on files to prove the whole existence of Hindu terror, so that they can simply appease a community. Man, face the truth. Learn to face the truth, and then, it'll be much better for the community if you face the truth. You cannot make a false equivalence with RSS, and also, in the name of Islamist, Islamism, look at the number of people killed every month, every week worldwide, across 25, 30, 35 countries. There are Islamist attacks across those countries. So, and also, by the way, Kader Sahab, I didn't mean by Muslim Brotherhood, I don't mean the Ummah. I meant the group called Muslim Brotherhood, which has been the fountain of much of the terror link thinking, activities, inspiration, groups. That I don't mean Muslims in general. I meant the particular group which has its headquarters in Egypt.
No, so I want to...
This is, false equivalence will get us nowhere, which is why Sitaram Yechuri's party is more or less, Sitaram Yechuri is irrelevant. His party in Kerala has been actually probably the most active state government against the PFI, because it has been, the state has borne the brunt of the worst of PFI so far.
Okay.
Among the people who have gone, 66 Indians who have gone to fight for ISIS in Syria and Iraq, many of them have been inspired by PFI. TJ Joseph's wrists have been cut by PFI.
So I want to ask Vikram Singh that in Kerala itself, where this group seemingly originated from, there are more than 300 cases against the PFI. In Karnataka too, there are about 310 cases. The point that's being espoused, or the point that's being asked, is that ultimately, if this group is tapping on a perceived sense of resentment or grievance among some sections of Muslims, then who is the onus on to prove that such a grievance is misplaced? Is it on the state? Is it on moderate Muslims within the community? A large majority, an overwhelming majority of Muslims are moderate, but because of the actions of a few in organizations like the PFI, the rest of the community gets a bad name. So who is the onus on to say that, look, what they are trying to do is propaganda, what they are trying to do is radicalize, is to extremize. The reality on the ground does not bear with that kind of propaganda that they are trying to propagate.
Zaka, is it for me?
Yes, Vikram Singh, yes.
Zaka, the first thing to do is the duty of the state to ensure that no radicalization happens. And radicalization happens only when there is a perceived sense of persecution. We are a vibrant democracy, and the Muslims are the happiest and the safest anywhere on the planet in India. Number two, we have people like Honorable काबिल एहतराम मौलाना कादरी साहब हैं, जिनकी आवाज़ दूर दूर तक जाती है, वो मरहम का काम करती है। मौलाना कादरी साहब की आवाज़, और जिसके ऊपर मौलाना साहब हाथ रख देंगे, मुझे कोई शक व शुबा नहीं कि वो बेगुनाह ही होगा, वो किसी गलत आदमी की पैरवी नहीं करेंगे। द लाइक्स ऑफ मिस्टर कादरी, अ सेन वॉइस from the Muslim community, and also the majority community has a role to play. But my last observation is that after the Mumbai blast, you had a book by the name of Mumbai Hamla RSS Ki Sajish, and the likes of Digvijay Singh were the one who released the book. Mr. Sapnil Kothari will bear witness to the fact. And there are such people who spread slow poison against one community or the other. They should end once and for all. The nation has to be resolute and rise as one person, that India first, and there will be zero tolerance as far as national security is concerned of any party, any individual, Zaka.
All right, I'm completely out of time. I want to thank all our guests, and we'll see how this story goes forth, whether this ban on the PFI will be effective to the extent that no person associated with this outlawed organization now will be able to further terrorize or further radicalize young Muslims for whatever perceived grievance there may exist. Let me now, as we wrap up, a key reminder of programming that's coming up. Indian of the Year. Do not forget to vote for your favorite sports person, the athlete that you feel deserves to be the Indian of the Year in sports. Just go to indianoftheyear.com and vote. In a moment, Ridhima joining you for the biggest.
On the PFI, just a few minutes ago, a team of police officials from the local police station of Shaheen Bagh have arrived out here at the PFI office. Now remember, this office was actually sealed by the NIA on the 22nd of September when the initial raids happened, in which approximately 147 people were arrested from across the country. All these were senior leaders of the PFI, and yesterday the on-ground workers of the PFI were arrested. Now a team of police officials have arrived over here just to make sure that no untoward situation arises over here, because PFI, this is the only office of PFI in the national capital, and this could be said as one of the headquarters of the PFI, and they actually have kind of a support on ground, especially in this area like Shaheen Bagh, where people actually say that people from the PFI have actually helped them on many occasions, be it for education or whatever. So yes, they have kind of a support over here, and just to make sure that no untoward situation arises, because yes, there will be public sentiment, there will be people who will be raising their voice against this ban on PFI, and that is the reason why the administration is taking absolutely every preventive step that could be taken just to make sure that no law and order situation arises, and if at all it arises, it could be contained at the earliest. And that is the reason why local police officials have already arrived over here. They are making sure that no one is allowed to gather in this area to carry out any sort of protest, because remember, this entire area has Section 144 has been imposed in this entire area approximately 10 days ago, and for the next 2 months that is going to continue as well. So yes, the police and the administration is already taking all the preventive steps that it can take just to make sure that a situation like Kerala that we saw happening on the 23rd of September or on the evening of 22nd September, where massive protests happen over there, there was public unrest, that should not happen on the streets of national capital, and that is the prime focus of the agencies as of now, and that is the reason why we are seeing all preventive measures being taken in the national capital just to make sure that no untoward situation arises, no sloganeering or no marches are being allowed to carried out to support the PFI as of now, Toya.
Anshul, I'd like if you could shed more of a light now on the community reactions that we've seen since yesterday. I think you were right now touching on information that we've received that a few of the people arrested yesterday were Delhi University students. But apart from that, I also believe that there were people who were considered the face of the Shaheen Bagh protest against the CA NRC from a few years ago that were also picked up during this round of arrests. Is that accurate?
So yes, many workers of the PFI were actually at the forefront of the Shaheen Bagh protest that happened during when the CA was actually passed by the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So yes, there were workers of the PFI that were actually involved and were actually at the forefront of carrying out that entire protest, and that is the reason why we saw that the people who were arrested over the last 2 raids that happened over the last 1 week, they could actually.
Good evening, you're watching the biggest exclusive right here on CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar. The flashpoint between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party has intensified once again. This after liquor businessman Sameer Mahindra was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in Delhi's now defunct excise policy. Now, the arrest of Sameer Mahindru, the managing director of Indo Spirits and distributes liquor, comes just a day after the Central Bureau of Investigation arrested Vijay Nair, AAP's communication chief, and also a person seen as a close aide of Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. Introduced in November last year, the now strapped Delhi excise policy has become a flashpoint between the AAP as well as the BJP. This after Delhi's LG VK Saxena had ordered a probe into its implementation. After the LG's probe orders, the Delhi government scrapped the policy in July this year, and in August, the CBI had launched its first series of raids that we saw play out in the national capital. Manish Sisodia was one of the 15 people named in the FIR by the CBI. In a video message post these arrests, AAP convener Arvind Kejriwal rubbished all these allegations against Vijay Nair, calling him just another party worker. He also hit out at the agencies, alleging that Vijay Nair actually was threatened to name Manish Sisodia, and failing to do so, he was threatened with an arrest. Today, the Rouse Avenue Court has sent both Vijay Nair to 5 days custody with the CBI and a custody with the ED for Sameer Mahindru as well. So is this just following as far as rule of law is concerned, or is this vendetta politics?
विजय नायर की गिरफ्तारी यह बिल्कुल दर्शा रही है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो कह रही थी, जो स्टिंग बता रहे थे और जो जांच बता रही है कि दिल्ली की शराब नीति में बहुत बड़ा घोटाला हुआ है।
जिस तरह का पूरा माहौल है, इनका पूरा एफर्ट है कि किस तरह से आम आदमी पार्टी को कुचला जाए।
So who are these individuals who've been arrested, and what is their connection with the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia? Let's break down these details in terms of who are these key players and what are the allegations against them. Let's first begin with Manish Sisodia. He is the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister. In the FIR that was filed by the CBI, out of the 15 accused, he was one of them. Now let's talk to you about the two arrests that have been made. One is Vijay Nair, the other is Sameer Mahindru. Who is Sameer Mahindru and what is the allegation against him? He actually paid money to Sisodia's aides. That's the allegation against Sameer Mahindru. Also, the other allegation is charged for money laundering. As I pointed out, both these people have been arrested and various custodies have been granted, one to the CBI and one to the Enforcement Directorate. There are other players under the scanner as well. Arjun Pandey, Amit Arora and Arun Pillai, called as Sisodia's close aides. These are all details that we're picking up as far as the FIR that was filed by the CBI. What is the allegation against these individuals? That they collected money from various liquor barons. There is an allegation of quid pro quo that many are saying reaches to the top leadership of the Aam Aadmi Party. They forwarded the collected money to Vijay Nair, who again has been arrested and has been sent to a CBI custody for about 5 days. Collected anywhere between 2 to 4 crores from Sameer Mahindru, the other man who also now has been arrested. Now let's talk to you about this man, Vijay Nair. Why has he been arrested? He is seen somebody to be extremely close to the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. The Aam Aadmi Party today has come out all guns blazing. They've stood by Vijay Nair and they've defended him as well. He's also the Aam Aadmi Party's communication strategist. Collected money on Sisodia's behalf. That's the allegation against him as far as Vijay Nair is concerned. Also bribed the accused and public servants. So as I said, the allegation of quid pro quo. Then there are other players as well. Arva Gopi Krishnan, Anand Tiwari and Pankaj Bhatnagar. They're all former excise officials. What is the allegation against them? That they actually were people who received crime proceeds. So as I said, this nexus was of quid pro quo. Vijay Nair bribed these excise officials. Before I bring in my guest, we're actually now getting some very crucial updates coming in because CNN News 18 has now accessed the order copy of Vijay Nair's custody, where the CBI is now alleging that Vijay Nair actually received 6% commission from liquor barons. We're also now getting an update as far as Sameer Mahindru is concerned. We're understanding that the ED, the Enforcement Directorate, has gotten custody of Sameer Mahindru till the 6th of October. These are details that my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar has accessed for us. He in fact is now joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, let's first talk to you about the allegations against Vijay Nair. Some serious allegations that he was evasive, not cooperative. There were some allegations of him deleting some data on phones. But what is this allegation as far as a 6% commission is concerned?
Definitely a very, very crucial day coming in at the liquor gate. First arrests have been made both by the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Directorate. When we talk of Vijay Nair, who is in fact the Aam Aadmi Party social media in charge, he was handling both the Punjab elections and the Gujarat elections. But what is very, very important and here to mention is that the CBI's FIR into this particular case alleges that he was actually responsible and was in close contact with regards to this liquor policy, and in fact he had met a lot of distributors, the L1 distributors, the wholesale distributors, not only in Delhi but in Hyderabad and Mumbai in various hotels, and had convinced them, because remember that the new excise policy had a 12% commission for the licensees who were getting a L1 license with the wholesaler dealer's license, and out of this 12% commission he was convincing these distributors to give a 6% cut to basically the other accused person, the major people involved into this particular case, and this is the major charge against him. Apart from that, what the Central Bureau of Investigation is alleging, that he actually deleted data from a lot of his phones. Basically 5 of his phones have been seized, 2 by the Central Bureau of Investigation and 3 by in fact the Enforcement Directorate. So the phones that have been seized by the Central Bureau of Investigation, is alleged that these phones were actually formatted by Vijay Nair, though his counsels allege that it was because he had gifted those phones to somebody else, but then the agency alleges that he has deleted crucial data. In fact, WhatsApp chats of in fact this particular person Vijay Nair with some other accused persons and others have also been produced before the court today. However, it was not read in the open court, so we don't know the exact details of it. But then another update that's coming forth to us is that Sameer Mahindru, who is the another accused arrested by the Enforcement Directorate, has now been sent to ED custody till October 6th, which effectively comes down to in fact 9 days of custody. It is alleged.
So agencies have gotten custody of both these individuals. You've got Vijay Nair, where the CBI has gotten a custody for about 5 days, and the ED getting custody of Sameer Mahindru. Ananya, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. So the question that we want to discuss over the next 20 minutes is this a valid probe, or is this just vendetta politics? Let me also now bring in our guest to take this discussion forward. We have the MLA from Aam Aadmi Party, Atishi. We have spokesperson of the Delhi BJP, Harish Khurana. We have spokesperson of the Congress Party, Dr. Onika Mehrotra. We also have political analyst Varun Singh. Good to have all of you on the broadcast with us. Atishi, I'd like to begin the discussion with you. As I pointed out, both these individuals who've been arrested, various agencies have now gotten custody, one with the CBI and one with the Enforcement Directorate. Is the Aam Aadmi Party still going to hold on to the narrative that both these individuals are kattar imandar?
See, first of all, I don't even actually know who Sameer Mahindru is, so I cannot comment on who Sameer Mahindru is, what he does or what he doesn't do. I think that is for the investigating agencies to find out. As far as Vijay Nair is concerned, Vijay Nair is the communication in charge of Aam Aadmi Party. He has been working with the Aam Aadmi Party for many years. He has handled communication and social media in Delhi elections, in Punjab elections, has been doing so even for the Gujarat elections. And the fact that he has been arrested in this so-called excise policy probe is quite bizarre. I mean, after all, what does a social media in charge or what does a communications in charge have anything to do with the excise policy? Number one. Number two, Vijay Nair has been questioned by the CBI for 5 days continuously, from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, for 12 hours every day. The only thing that they have been asking him again and again and again is to name Manish Sisodia. And they kept on threatening him and telling him, कि तुम Manish Sisodia का नाम ले लो, वरना हम तुम्हें गिरफ्तार कर लेंगे. This went on for 5 days. And when finally he did not name Manish Sisodia, yesterday night he was arrested. And so it is very clear that central agencies under the control of the BJP are quite desperate now. They're desperate because they've tried everything that they could. They raided Manish Sisodia's house, they found nothing. They went to his ancestral village hoping they'd find some property, they found nothing. They raided Manish Sisodia's locker, they found nothing. Now what do they want to do? They want to pick up random people, torture them, intimidate them, and kisi tarike se make them say कि भाई
So are you
Manish
calling Vijay Nair a random person? Because I thought he was a close aide of Manish Sisodia.
Yes, but what does Vijay Nair, who is a social media in charge, who is a communication in charge, have anything to do with government policy?
You know, but Atishi, even earlier, this is a topic that actually is being debated for a few weeks and months now. Even earlier, the Aam Aadmi Party was saying, there is no evidence as far as Manish Sisodia is concerned. He was actually named as far as that FIR is concerned out of those 15 people. And even the order copy that I just put out when I started the show has some serious allegations even against Vijay Nair and Sameer Mahindru. The allegation against Vijay Nair is that he actually took a 6% commission as far as these liquor barons was concerned. The other allegation also is, which is even more concerning for the agencies. 1 second, Atish, I'll give you the fair opportunity to respond. The other allegation, which is even more worrying as far as the agencies are concerned, that he was evasive and non-cooperative. What they're also now looking into is data of mobile phones, which they feel Vijay Nair deleted deliberately. There's nothing to hide. Why would you want to format your phone?
In fact, it was Vijay Nair who himself handed over all these phones, even though some of them were out of the country, as the order that you say. He had actually gifted the phones to someone, he got them couriered back to the country and himself handed over these phone instruments. Number one. Number two, definitely as far as the CBI is concerned, he was not cooperating. Why? Because the CBI wants him to name Manish Sisodia, which for 12 hours daily and in intimidating interrogation, he has refused to do. Number three, these so-called allegations that the CBI and the Bharatiya Janata Party have been making. Please, Ridhima, let us remember that these allegations have ranged all the way from saying that there is a 1.5 lakh crore scam to the CBI FIR, which says, oh, maybe 1 crore has gone here and there. This CBI FIR, which relies entirely on sources, has not been able to present even a single piece of evidence so far. But as we have said, we welcome any investigation, but it is very clear that this witch hunt is going to go on till the Gujarat election. Today they have arrested Vijay Nair. Tomorrow they may arrest any other volunteer of Aam Aadmi Party.
Harish Khurana come in. The Aam Aadmi Party is saying we expected this. And this is something, to be fair to Atishi, even Arvind Kejriwal has said in the past that we anticipate these arrests. He's been saying that I'm actually working with a timeline where I know that even Manish Sisodia will be picked up. All of this is just to destabilize the kind of work the Aam Aadmi Party is doing, not just in the national capital, but in other parts of the country where they're actually making inroads, with examples of Punjab.
Ridhima, a phrase in Hindi called a chor ki dali mein tinka. I think my fellow friend Atishi is doing the same thing. Why are you so much worried about the arrest of Vijay Nair? Why are you making a human cry? Let the law their own course. The same script was been written and repeatedly said in the media when Satyendra Jain was being arrested. Himachal elections are coming in. BJP got afraid. So and so. This script was same when Satyendra Jain was arrested. What has happened? Since last 4 months, on the order of court, honorable court, not by ED or not by CBI, is in jail since last 4 months and not getting a bail. Why?
You are the ones who at the end of the day judge
I have not interfered. इतना क्यों? Why are you so? इतना क्यों बुखला रहे हो? 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 Let me. Is it my chance now? I have not. Ridhima, what is this? Ridhima, what is this?
Okay.
She's not letting me speak.
Here there is no evidence.
Ridhima,
okay, Atishi, let Harish please make his point.
About to give a judgment.
She is not letting me speak. Shows their anger. Shows their frustration.
Okay,
let us speak.
Okay, see, nobody will understand with what is being said. The viewers definitely will not understand. Harish, make your point.
Exactly. Ridhima, the same script was happening in Himachal election when the Himachal election vendetta politics is going on. So over here we should understand who the Vijay Nair is. Vijay Nair, according to the proofs which are coming out, and also in media, and we have also the proof with us also, and we have seen in the sting operation also, Vijay Nair is the key middleman who have introduced this liquor mafias to Manish Sisodia and Arvind Kejriwal. And in the clear list, we have seen that thing of accused number 9, I think Amit, who has clearly said 100 crore rupees was given by Sameer Mahindru to Vijay Nair. 60 crore rupees has been given by Mrs. Chadda to Vijay Nair. Vijay Nair was a key man. And since last 1.5, 2 months, he was absconding in somewhere in outside the country. God knows where he was been. And when he was arrested, his phone was being formatted. Why? Why? Because you want to hide something. And why? I like to ask Atishi, क्यों घबरा रहे हो भाई? If you have not done nothing wrong, let the law take own course. The same script which was being given recently, 2 of the MLAs were being convicted by the court. If you remember, what has happened to them? The same script, vendetta politics. Don't hide it behind the vendetta politics. You should face the court. You should face the law. If you have done nothing wrong, you will come out clean.
If there is nothing to hide, why don't you just cooperate with the investigation? And this is important, right? Because Atishi, when we had seen the summons that were given to various Congress leaders, this is exactly what the Aam Aadmi Party spokespersons had said to the Congress people, that if you have nothing to hide, why don't you just cooperate with the investigation? Dr. Ronika, let me bring you in the conversation as well. The Aam Aadmi Party is saying this is a witch hunt, this is all politically motivated with an eye on elections. Do you buy that argument?
Well, they should not be a worried lot, because they've always claimed to be Kattar Imandar, and let law take his own course, ma'am. Unfortunately, all I have to add here is the aspirational desire of Mr. Kejriwal, has lured him to indulge in the fraud practices in the Aabkari Niti.
I really apologize for interrupting. We're getting a big piece of breaking developments now coming in. There is a new CDS that has now been appointed, Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan, to be appointed as the Chief of Defence Staff. This after that unfortunate demise of General Bipin Rawat. So India has now gotten a new CDS. We are now understanding that the new Chief of Defence Staff will be retired Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan. As I pointed out, after that very unfortunate demise of General Bipin Rawat, who in fact was India's first CDS, India will now get a new CDS, a Chief of Defence Staff, in the form of retired Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan. Remember, there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of names were in the running. Many had also said that possibly, the army chief could also be considered as far as the CDS is concerned. But now we have a clarity as far as who the new CDS is. We have Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan, who will now be appointed as the Chief of Defence Staff. My colleague Tejinder is getting us all those details. Tejinder, after that unfortunate demise of General Bipin Rawat in that air crash that we all had reported extensively on, there was a void that was created. This was a position that we'd seen for the first time. He was India's first CDS. A lot of names were in the running, a lot of speculation on the Chief of Army Staff as well. But talk to us about the credentials of retired Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan, who will be now the new CDS.
Yes, you see, after the unfortunate demise of CDS, the first CDS, General Bipin Rawat, in that air crash, now the government of India has decided to appoint Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan, who retired from the army, as the next CDS. So he will be taking over as the next CDS of the Indian Armed Forces. Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan's career spans to almost 40 years. He has served in the army. Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan had held several command staff and instrumental appointments and had extensive experience in counter-insurgency operations in Jammu and Kashmir and North-East India. He is born on 18th of May 1961, and during this he was commissioned in the 11 Gorkha Rifles of the Indian Army in 1981. He was an alumnus. He's an alumnus of the National Defence Academy, Khadagwasla. Then he did his course from the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. In the rank of Major General, he was the officer, had commanded the Infantry Division in critical Baramulla sector, which is the 19th Infantry Division, which comes under the Northern Command. He commanded a corps at the Northeast and went to become the General Officer Commanding in Chief of the Eastern Command from September 2019 and held the charge till his retirement on May 2021. So he had an extensive career of 40 long years. In all these command appointments, the officer also had important staff appointments, including the charge of Director General of Military Operations. Yes, Rizman.
Yes, correct. Tejinder, I'll just request you to stay on with us, and now we're getting some other details of the profile of Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan as well. He's been awarded the PVSM or the Param Vishesh Seva Medal, the Uttam Seva Medal, the Atish Seva Medal, Sena Medal and the VSM as well in his long illustrious career. My colleague Akash also now joining us with more details. Akash, any other details that you're picking up? As I was discussing with Tejinder, also post that unfortunate demise of General Bipin Rawat, there was a void that was created. What has gone in favor of Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan that he is now going to be the next CDS for the country?
So you see, Ridhima, in fact, my colleague Tejinder was pointing out he has an extensive career of 40 years and, talking about several commands. So, talking about counterinsurgency operations and all other things that happen in Jammu and Kashmir and Northeast India. So this was the profile and that was the main reason why he was chosen. Extensive career of 40 years and also the kind of experience that he has was the main reason why he has been appointed. And, this post, as you rightly mentioned, was vacant after General Bipin Rawat. And now we have got the new CDS, Anil Chauhan. And, he will also function as Secretary to Government of India. And, talking about his experience, I should mention this, that, he was commissioned into 11 Gorkha Rifles initially.
Correct.
And is basically from, Military Academy, Dehradun. So the experience matters the most, and that's the reason why he was chosen. In fact, our sources in the Defense Ministry are telling us that, he has a vast experience while talking about the terrorism and all the, counterinsurgency operations. And that was the reason why he was the very first choice for the government. And, this post was recently created and, General Bipin Rawat was the first one to serve as CDS. But this post was vacant from last so many months and now we have got the new CDS.
And it's been a period of about 8 to 9 months that we had that void actually. I'll just request my colleagues Tejinder and Akash to stay on with us. We also have retired Major General KK Sinha. We also have retired Lieutenant General BS Jaiswal. Good to have both of you on the broadcast with us. Major General Sinha, let me come to you first. How do you see this development?
I think it is a good move. It has come late, but after 9 months or so, after the demise of Bipin Rawat. But, as far Lieutenant General Anil Chauhan is concerned, he is a very highly decorated officer who has, who has served as a Secretary to Government of India in Department of Military Affairs from the date of when it was actually created. So he has got experience. He has worked under Bipin Rawat. He knows what all things are happening. And he is from 11 GR, Gorkha Rifle. So he is an infantryman who has seen the combat, who has, a lot of experience. So I think it's a very good choice the government, has announced now. And it was a long awaited. We were looking forward. There was some talk that, probably he will, succeed because he has got, first-hand experience. And we have seen that he has got a very, colorful and a very highly rich and experience basically in the combat. He has taken part in many operations. He has been in insurgency. He has been on the appointments. He has been in all front. I think he's the best suited officer as on today. He is retired. And one more thing which has happened, he is a retired. After his retirement, he has joined.
Correct.
So it has a very deep selection. The government has gone into it. And a lot of barriers, the government has broken, that.
Correct. I agree with the point that General Sinha is making, and that's actually the back and forth that was going on, other than the names that were in the running as well, Lieutenant General Jaiswal, that whether we'll actually see a serving officer or will we see a retired officer being brought in. There was a lot of speculation on the Army Chief, General Naravne, also before he took over. How do you see this appointment?
Needed appointment and much awaited for that matter. And there has been a precedence in other countries also that they have had retired generals as the Chief of Defence Staff. So I think what they took into account was the man's experience and his capability and prowess to hold the chair. So they've done a very deep selection. And the mere fact that they have taken a decision, a lot must have been analyzed, and it's a good move. CDS is required, and they've ultimately taken a decision, much awaited decision.
General Sinha, how do you see his appointment? Because the CDS is a very crucial position, as General Jaiswal was also pointing out. You need to have the synergy of all the tri-forces working together under this one head. How do you see this appointment only strengthening the synergy of the tri-forces working together?
See, as far the, Lieutenant Chauhan is concerned, he has been there, as I brought it out earlier. From day one, when, the officer of CDS, and which is a part of MOD, has come, he has been there. So he understands exactly what is the nitty-gritty of that, because that was the beginning. There were a lot of things which are the gray area and which has been settled down. And, he will able to handle, because he has seen how the integration and the true synergies can be done under the three, services. Because the integrated way of operation is and theaterization is the, the requirement of the day. As on today, the India faces a challenge. Basically, it has had an enlarged role in Indo-Pacific. So our, it is not just going to be a frontier requirement. Basically, Indian forces were looking after only a frontier, whether the Western Front or the Northern Front. Now there is a requirement in geopolitics and geomilitarily and geostrategically that we look into a broader area, and we have got a broader role to play. I think he has got experience. He has been, Northern Army commander. He has been, a number of appointments, which is a very challenging for any officer to take on such responsibility. I think it is very, very good selections. And there were a lot of speculation, lots of names were, been tossed. So it has been settled down, and I wish him all the best. And he has got a very tough task to do it, especially now. And I think he is all set to do that.
General Jaiswal, before I wrap this conversation, when you're taking on from such a rich legacy as far as General Bipin Rawat was concerned, who was also the brain behind the surgical strike against Pakistan, when he was actually the Vice Chief of Army Staff, I believe this was in 2016. What are going to be the challenges, or what is going to be the most crucial priority for India as of now when we get this new CDS?
One of the responsibilities of the CDS is to coordinate the procurement part. I think our procurement has really beefed up, and he will play a crucial role in coordinating the procurement part of it. Second, the theaterization part, this has gone a bit into a limbo. He will be able to now once again give pace to the theaterization. So whatever void was created, was lack of the CDS out there to give directions, I think that will catch up, and it's a very good step, very good step.
Okay. Unfortunately, sir, I'll have to leave that conversation there. Appreciate both of you joining us here on CNN News 18. So India is getting a new CDS. With that, it's a wrap from my side. Plain Speak is up next.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Within a week of the nationwide raids against Popular Front of India, the radical Islamic body and 8 of its fronts have been banned today by the Home Ministry for a period of 5 years. This ban will now go to a tribunal, and if upheld, it can be extended. This has been a long-standing matter of question and debate. When will the PFI get banned? It was not a matter of if, actually, for most, but a matter of when. For very long, their role in murders and violent agitations, communal unrest were coming to light. And almost all opposition parties were goading the BJP, asking, when are you going to ban the PFI? Because the BJP was raising the PFI question. Today, after the ban, there are two kinds of response. One, where BJP's political opponents ask, why so late? What were you doing for so long? Second, what about others? They draw a parallel of the PFI with RSS or RSS-linked Hindu organizations. Is that comparison fair, or is it a simple ploy to draw a parallel where none exists? If the likes of Congress, the left, the likes of Samajwadi Party believe that PFI and RSS are two sides of the same coin, How come they were never able to take any action against either of them when they were in power, at the center or at state levels? Certainly not against the RSS since 1992. This is the question and equation today. Is it purely political then? The larger question we also ask, has the ban on PFI brought out the terror apologists into the open, into the light, as they say? We will take those questions to our guests in just a bit. But first up, take a look at the various activities and incidents that have formed the backbone of the ban against the PFI. First, here are as many as 10 murders that have taken place in which PFI and its workers have been implicated. Some have been convicted. These are just some of those murders from Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, of course, that have come to light since 2016. Of course, our viewers would remember that it was way back, over a decade back, when Professor T.J. Joseph's hand was chopped off by PFI workers, the first such case in which they were even convicted in. Then there is the alleged terror link. Agencies say PFI activists have joined the ISIS in Iraq, in Syria over the last few years, and then PFI links to banned terror outfit based in Bangladesh, Jamaatul Mujahideen, have also come to light, and these two have also formed the basis of the ban against this organization. And then there are charges of allegations of money laundering and illegal funds. It is alleged by the agencies that PFI raised funds through banking channels, hawala and donations. These funds were raised both in India and even from overseas. PFI then had a very sophisticated network of layering these funds to project them as legitimate. And then these funds were being used to carry out unlawful and terror activities in India. Agencies have said, by the way, the sources of deposits on behalf of PFI with respect to its several bank accounts were not supported by the financial profiles of the account holders, and the activity of PFI were not being carried out as per their declared objectives. Along with PFI, 8 of its fronts have also been banned. There's the Campus Front of India, the Student Wing, recently in the news during the hijab agitation in Karnataka, where direct links were found to them. National Women's Front, the women's wing of the PFI. There's a Junior Front, which is the kids wing of PFI. The kid in Kerala recently, who was caught on camera making highly objectionable, violent slogans in a PFI rally, was allegedly a member of this kids front. All India Imams Council, supposedly a congregation of Islamic scholars and teachers. Rehab India Foundation, which claims to be a non-profit outfit working for the poor and needy. Rehab Foundation Kerala, which is the Kerala wing of the Rehab Foundation. There is the National Confederation of Human Rights Organization, which claims to work to protect rights of the exploited and marginalized. Empower India Foundation. It claims to provide intellectual and motivational support to weaker sections. Now, it is possible that some of these organizations were indeed doing some work on the ground. But if that was being used as a front for illegal acts, then you gotta go. Now, a lot of politicians are raising the question, why ban the PFI? What is the proof? The NI obviously has done its homework before the raids, and the MHA will not ban an organization without ample proof. As I said, many of them were asking the central agencies, why are you not banning them? Today they ask why. Now, this is what has been recovered from various PFI offices. IED making document recovered from the UP PFI leader. Marine radio have been recovered from the SDPI chief in Tamil Nadu. What were they doing with these? Swords, weapons at Maharashtra, a PFI president's home, and cash seized from a Bengaluru PFI leader. None of this is frankly screaming innocent to anyone. So the big question we ask today, given the political reactions that have come in the aftermath of the PFI ban, has it exposed terror apologists in India? Listen into how the BJP leadership welcomed the ban today, how the opposition has reacted, and why the RSS was dragged in. What did they have to say on that?
A very, very welcoming move. I'd like to express our gratitude to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah for this bold action. PFI and CFI create the fertile ground so that the ABT or Al-Qaeda Indian subcontinent can recruit youth. But apart from that, they also instigate people against the country, against the state.
स्वागत योग्य कदम है। केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालय ने बहुत अच्छा निर्णय लिया है और पूरे प्रदेश और देश में बहुत ही खुशी की लहर है। जिस ढंग से गैर सामाजिक, गैर कानूनी गतिविधियों में संलिप्तता पाई जा रही थी, PFI पर रोक लगाना बहुत आवश्यक था। इन लोगों ने प्रदेश और देश के अमन चैन को डिस्टर्ब करने का कुत्सित प्रयास किया था। गैर कानूनी गतिविधियों में संलिप्त थे और इनके नेटवर्क को पूरी तरह से ध्वस्त कर देना ये हम लोगों का प्रथम कर्तव्य है।
It was a long time demand by the people of this country, by all political parties, including opposition like CPI, CPM and Congress. PFI is a avatar of SIMI, KFD and PFI. They were doing all anti-national activities and time had come to ban this organization.
PFI संगठन जो है, ये जो पॉपुलेशन फ्रंट ऑफ इंडिया, ये जो पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद के नारे लगाते हैं, उनको इस देश में ऐसे नारे लगाने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है। ये गृह विभाग पूरी तरह उनका बंदोबस्त करेगी।
Really have not worked in the past. The same people can work with a different name in a different organization. We've seen that happen. Yeah, the banning, as I told you earlier, RSS was banned thrice. Has it stopped them? That's why I'm saying that killings and retaliatory killings, that was end.
ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಅದನ್ನ ಅವ್ರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದೇನು ವಿರೋಧ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಂಬರ್ 1. ನಂಬರ್ 2, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ RSS ನವರು ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಶಾಂತಿಯನ್ನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೂ ಕ್ರಮ.
लेकिन एक चीज समझ नहीं आई कि 5 साल के लिए क्यों है ये सूट? इनको 5 साल करता है, उसके बाद इनको सूट करेगा। पहली ये चीज है। दूसरी चीज ये है कि बैन करते वक्त और चीज़ों की तरफ भी देखना चाहिए। बहुत सी एक्टिविटीज़ RSS की एंटी नेशनल एक्टिविटीज़ हैं।
अब ये तो गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी है। बहरहाल हम तो इसको पसंद नहीं करते। उन्होंने जो बैन लगाया है, और भी पार्टियां हैं, वो भी सब सियासी पार्टी हैं, ये भी एक सियासी पार्टी थी, लेकिन ये मुस्लिम कौम को रिप्रेजेंट करती है। उन्होंने उन पर बैन लगा दिया। ये मुनासिब नहीं था, बैन नहीं लगाना चाहिए था, या तो फिर और पार्टियों पर बैन लगाओ।
कांग्रेस उस समय की पंत प्रधान श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी ने लोकतंत्र और संविधान को कुचलते हुए आपातकाल लगाते हुए संघ पर प्रतिबंध लगाया। अल्टीमेटली संघ पर से प्रतिबंध हटाना भी पड़ा। देश में संघ लोकतंत्र का रक्षक बनकर उभरा। जब जब संघ पर किसी भी दल ने उंगलियां उठाई तो वह सूर्य पर थूकने समान सिद्ध हुआ। और कांग्रेस का ये राग वैसा ही है जैसे 1947 में कांग्रेस देश के विभाजन की कसूरवार बनी आज़ादी के समय में, और RSS को गाली देने से वह इस अपराध से कभी भी मुक्त नहीं हो सकते।
First up, I want to go across to Abdul Khalik, who's the Congress MP from Barpeta in Assam. He's one of those who has, in a way, raised a doubt over the government action. अब्दुल जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। पहले तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, आपने बोला कि PFI पे जो बैन लगा है वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन RSS पे भी बैन होना चाहिए। क्या PFI और RSS का कोई कंपैरिजन हो सकता है?
मैंने ये नहीं बोला RSS बैन होना चाहिए। मैं बोला कोई दफा पहले RSS भी बैन हुआ था। सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ने RSS को बैन किया था। ये इमरजेंसी का टाइम में बैन हुआ था। ये आपको नरसिम्हा राव गवर्नमेंट का टाइम में बैन हुआ था। और RSS का तो काफी एक्टिविटीज डाउटफुल है। इसमें तो कोई RSS तो नफरत फैलाते हैं काफी टाइम, और नफरत से ही आतंक होते हैं। लेकिन मैंने ये मांग नहीं किया उसको बैन होना चाहिए। मैंने ये बोला था RSS भी कोई दफा बैन हुआ था।
तो एक तरह से आप वही तो कर रहे हैं ना, PFI और RSS को इक्वेट कर रहे हैं। तो दोनों में कैसे कंपैरिजन हो सकता है, ये मैं आपसे पूछ रही हूँ।
मैं कभी कंपेयर नहीं किया, लेकिन PFI कितना राष्ट्रद्रोही काम कर रहा है ये सरकार को पता चलेगा। आई एम नॉट इन गवर्नमेंट, मैं मंत्री नहीं हूं, मेरे पास कोई सबूत नहीं है कितना वो राष्ट्रद्रोही काम कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है। लेकिन मैं ये बात भी बोला है कि मुसलमान समाज को आतंक के पास जाए ऐसा एक साजिश चल रहा है। ये साजिश ये मुसलमान समाज में राजनाथ सिंह जी से पूरा सहमत हूँ। भारतीय मुसलमान हमेशा ये आतंकी के साथ नहीं है, ये मेन स्ट्रीम के साथ है, और ऐसा कुछ कदम नहीं उठाना चाहिए ताकि ये आतंक के पास जाए।
नहीं तो ये कैसे, अब मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा, आप ये बात बोल कैसे रहे हैं? पीएफआई को बैन करने से क्यों आतंक के पास जाएंगे मुसलमान लोग? ये तो बहुत गलत बात बोल रहे हैं आप।
सुनिए, मैंने कभी नहीं बोला पीएफआई को नहीं बैन करना चाहिए, लेकिन ऐसा माहौल मत क्रिएट करो जो माहौल से जा सके। सरकार को मैं होशियार होने के लिए बोला, मैं ये नहीं कहा पीएफआई बैन होने से मुसलमान आतंकी समाज पास जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं बोला, लेकिन सरकार को होशियार होना चाहिए, ये मैं बोला।
नहीं, आप घुमा घुमा के बात कर रहे हैं, मैं आपसे सीधा समझना चाह रही हूँ। आप आरएसएस की बात कर रहे हैं, आप माहौल की बात कर रहे हैं, ऐसा क्या हुआ है जो आप माहौल की बात कर रहे हैं देश में?
आरएसएस का नाम इसलिए बोल रहा हूं क्योंकि आरएसएस नफरत फैलाते हैं, और नफरत जब ज्यादा होते हैं तब आतंक का माहौल होते हैं। इसलिए समाज में जो नफरत फैल रहा है, ये नफरत बंद होना चाहिए। नफरत फैलाना, जब तक नफरत रहेगा, नफरत का काउंटर इफेक्ट भी होते हैं, ये नहीं होना चाहिए।
नहीं, ये जो आप कॉजालिटी कर रहे हैं, मेरे ख्याल से तो वो सही नहीं है। बट मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, आपने बोला सरकार को ऐसा कोई कदम नहीं उठाना चाहिए जिससे आतंकवाद फैले। आपका मतलब क्या है? आप खुल के बोलिए ना।
मेरा जो बोलना तो बोल दिया, आप जो चाहते हैं वो तो मेरे मुंह से नहीं निकलेगा ना।
मैं तो बस क्लैरिटी चाह रही हूँ।
तो बोल दिया मैंने।
But is it also not fair, sir, that there has been a political and social support to bodies like PFI? आप जो बोल रहे हैं, माहौल की बात कर रहे हैं, मुसलमान खतरे का खतरे में टाइप नैरेटिव है, उससे ही ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस बनती है ना। तो इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को पॉलिटिकल और सोशल सपोर्ट भी मिल रहा है।
पीएफआई कितना टेरर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है मुझे नहीं पता। मुझे नहीं पता पीएफआई कितना टेरर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, कितना टेरर वो फैलाया, कितना आतंकवाद किया। मेरे पास कोई इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, मैं कैसे बताऊंगा? मेरे पास कोई इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है। सरकार, मैं एमपी हूं, सरकार अगर पार्लियामेंट में सारे सबूत रखेगा तब तो मुझे पता चलेगा। पार्लियामेंट के सेशन नवंबर में होने वाला है, सरकार अगर सारे सबूत रखेगा तब हमको पता चलेगा।
मैं आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन के लिए बता देती हूँ, इन्वेस्टिगेशन के हिसाब से अभी पिछले 5 सालों में ऐसे 10 मर्डर हो चुके हैं केरला, कर्नाटका, तमिलनाडु में, जिसमें पीएफआई का हाथ निकला है। आपको ये प्रूफ काफी नहीं लगता?
देखिए, एनआईए के मैं वही बोला, पार्लियामेंट का सेशन जब डाटा पार्लियामेंट में रखेगा तभी हमको पता चलेगा, नहीं तो कैसे चलेगा? अभी तो सारे एजेंसी जो सरकार का है, अभी तो काफी टाइम सरकार का एजेंसी पॉलिटिकली भी इस्तेमाल होते हैं। आप ईडी का बात करो, सीबीआई का बात करो, जो सरकार का खिलाफ आवाज उठाते हैं उनका खिलाफ ये ईडी का इस्तेमाल होते हैं, सीबीआई का इस्तेमाल होते हैं। एनआईए अभी कितना काम किया, क्या सबूत आया, क्या नहीं आया, जब सत्र चलेगा पार्लियामेंट का तभी पता चलेगा ना।
आप आसाम से आते हैं, मैं आपसे एक आखिरी सवाल आसाम के बारे में पूछती हूँ। आसाम में भी रोल आया है पीएफआई का जब अनरेस्ट हुआ था, तो आपको नहीं लगता कि पीएफआई टाइप की जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है आसाम के लोगों के लिए, आसाम के मुसलमानों के लिए भी खतरनाक थी?
मैंने कभी ऐसा, देखिए आसाम का मुख्यमंत्री बोलते हैं, लेकिन मैंने पीएफआई को कोई टेरर एक्टिविटीज नहीं देखा। मैं कैसे बोलूंगा? आसाम के मुख्यमंत्री जो कहते हैं, आसाम के मुख्यमंत्री के बात मैं बिल्कुल विश्वास नहीं करता, क्योंकि आसाम के मुख्यमंत्री एक विशेष समुदाय के खिलाफ बोलते हैं। मैं खुद मुख्यमंत्री के खिलाफ एक केस लगाया, वो लोअर कोर्ट ने मुख्यमंत्री का खिलाफ केस दर्ज करने का, रजिस्टर करने का आदेश दिया था, बाद में हाई कोर्ट ने इसलिए तो पता लगा है। तो आसाम के मुख्यमंत्री खुद नफरत फैलाते हैं, आसाम के मुख्यमंत्री ध्रुवीकरण के राजनीति करता है, तो वो जो बोलते हैं उस पर मेरा कोई विश्वास नहीं है, क्योंकि जो नया नया मुसलमान ज्यादा अल्लाह अल्लाह करते हैं, आसाम के मुख्यमंत्री हिमंत बिस्वा शर्मा भी ऐसा है, वो नया बीजेपी बन गया। वो बीजेपी आला कमान को खुश करने के लिए, आरएसएस को खुश करने के लिए वो ज्यादा बीजेपी बन गया, ज्यादा आरएसएस बन गया। इसीलिए हिमंत बिस्वा शर्मा जो कहते हैं उस पर मेरा कोई भी भरोसा नहीं। इसलिए पीएफआई कितना टेरर एक्टिविटीज में है, मेरे पास कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है।
आपके पास कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है, ठीक है। चलिए, आपको लगता है कि आपको पता ही नहीं है कि पीएफआई का नाम क्यों लिया जा रहा है, क्यों इतने सालों से हम बैन की बात कर रहे हैं। All right, Abdul Khalik, I do appreciate you joining us. Let me take this to our guest joining us now. K.S. Radhakrishnan is BJP Kerala Vice President in Kerala. the BJP has also made an accusation that the current ruling front also has members of agencies linked to the PFI. Swati Malik is from the Congress party. RVS Mani is former Under Secretary, Internal Security. Rahul Ishwar, author and activist. Desh Ratan Nigam, political analyst, leans towards the RSS. Maulana Masoodul Hassan Kazmi is Islamic scholar on joining us. Let me go across to our BJP representative first up. K.S. Radhakrishnan, first of all, how do you respond to these allegations coming in from most of the opposition parties today that you've only acted on one side of hate, you've not acted on the other coin, the other side of the same coin?
I don't understand basically what are the reasons for their allegation that if PFI has been banned, immediately to balance that act, RSS also must be banned. This is the logic behind their argument. And they are not presenting any facts to substantiate their argument that RSS is a terror outfit. But I can present any number of instances related to the PFI as they have been practicing violence in every deed which they have done in public life. They have no hesitation to commit any number of murders and no hesitation to commit any amount of crime. And all those have been on the public sphere for the long time. And in the case of the LDF and UDF in Kerala, both the fronts have been practicing the politics of minority appeasement to secure maximum number of votes. That's why they are saying that, no, if this has been done, that also must have been done. But have they said anything that this is what the PFI have done here and we have to oppose it? See, what if they said that RSS, I heard that HUD had said that RSS had been banned.
Yes, it
The
didn't stop the
first banned
RSS.
political outfit in
He
India
has
is the
said so,
Communist
and many
Party.
others have said so. I was speaking to the Congress MP from Assam. He also saying, I am not equating the two. But remember that RSS was also banned.
Why should? For what purpose? Why should you demand that RSS should be banned? How can you make a comparison between RSS and PFI? Such a comparison is just impossible. And you are making an impossible comparison and arguing that if this has been banned, that the other also should have been banned.
No, the point that
This is
they're
not the
raising,
right way of presenting things.
Radhakrishnan ji, the point that they're raising is that in the past, even RSS has been banned. So even the RSS has a dubious past.
Okay, ma'am. In the past, Communist Party had been banned. That was the first banned political outfit in 1948. When they adopted a resolution known as Calcutta Thesis,